Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Non-Scripted Ramblings. I'm Akendall Richardson. Thank you for joining me. So we're here because, as you've noticed in the title, we're going to be talking about Star Wars: A New Hope today, and I'm very excited because, most things excite me. But we are 8 weeks away from, or should I say 9 weeks away from episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, coming out in cinemas, the last film of the Skywalker saga, this long spanning over 40 years journey that George Lucas began, if I can speak, back in 1977. And yeah, I just felt that, another beloved franchise has come, well, not that the MCU came to an end, but, that was a culmination of a story, and here is again another big culmination of an epic story, told across many movies, and it's something that I grew up watching. I've been watching Star Wars movies as long as I can remember, long, obviously, before Iron Man ever flew across the screen, but I'm just really excited to dive into these movies over the next 8 to 9 weeks as we count everything down until Rise of Skywalker and the saga as we know it comes to an end. It's going to be pretty epic. Just a bit of disclosure from the top, I'm not going to be doing Rogue One or Solo, a Star Wars story. No, God, if I can't speak now, we're in for a rough ride, guys. Strap in. Because those aren't, while they're obviously very heavily connected to the main story, the Skywalker saga, because it's that saga that's coming to an end directly, I just want to touch on those. But if anybody wants, comment below and I will do a Rogue One video. I will do a Solo video if you guys want, because I'm more than happy to just keep watching Star Wars to my heart's content. Anything else you guys want me to watch or review, just let me know in the comments below. That would be wonderful. So, this is probably my favourite Star Wars film. That's how I'm starting this review. This is still, I just finished watching it only maybe half an hour ago before recording this, and yeah, I'm just sitting there watching it with this big smile on my face, and it just takes me back to my childhood. Like the original trilogy takes me back to my childhood every time I watch it. And I should probably also mention that yes, I'm doing 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. We're doing chronological release order here, people. The way they were, originally sent out to the world. None of this machete order, or none of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or any of the extra different watching orders. If you want, you can watch these videos in whatever order you want that corresponds with how you watch all the movies. That would be freaking hilarious considering that, but yeah, go for gold with that. Watch it however you want. I don't care. I like to watch them 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. Mostly because, the twists and everything. Darth Vader being Anakin Skywalker, that whole big reveal in Empire, it just makes more sense to watch it 4, 5, 6. But that's just me. But anyway, yes, this original trilogy is just 3 of my favorite movies ever, and watching them makes me feel like I'm, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever, how young. I was young when I first started watching them, although I'm pretty sure A New Hope wasn't the first Star Wars film I saw off the top of my head. I think it was Return of the Jedi. Good work, Mum and Dad. But I could be remembering that wrong. Nevertheless, I maintain that A New Hope is definitely my favourite. It's one of the best most epic introductions to a brand new world, brand new universe, a brand new galaxy that we've ever gotten in cinema history, I think. It's masterful, it's so creative, it's just inspiring. There is literally so many good things about this movie. Like, it's a near perfect film for me, especially one made in the mid to late 70s. Like, that's impressive. It's really, really impressive, and hilarious considering George Lucas didn't actually think it was going to be successful when it was released. So that's hilarious to me, but he was wrong. Yes, New Hope obviously wasn't called A New Hope when Star Wars was first released. It was just called Star Wars, but once it was proven to be such a success that Lucas was like, right, better get to writing some sequels then. Then it just made more sense to retroactively call it Episode 4 A New Hope, after Empire Strikes Back came out in 1980. So I think they added the New Hope title in 1981, I read, so correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, so that's interesting, because I'm, in pop culture and in movies and stuff, when everyone talks about Star Wars, they're talking about A New Hope. They don't ever say A New Hope, because everyone in America just knows it as Star Wars, because that's what it was for the first 4 years of its being existing in the world. So they don't call it A New Hope, and it confuses me, because I'm just like, damn it, it's Episode 4 A New Hope. But that's just me. But it's just so wonderful in every sense of the word. And it introduced me to one of my all-time favourite actors, Harrison Ford. Straight from watching Star Wars, of course, I went right into Indiana Jones. Like, that's a no-brainer. And I adore him so much and have my entire life. He's probably my top 5 full-time greatest, most awesome, fantastic actors ever. He is just dreamy and a wonderful leading man, and his Han Solo is, I just love how sassy he is, his attitude right from the start. He's not the hero like Luke is. Luke's very different, obviously, but Han's just got that edge to him, and just the way Harrison, portrays him with his, just everything, literally everything. I can't even narrow down like certain little things, but mannerisms and the way he carries himself and all of this stuff, but just the way he delivers his lines and everything. And that smile, it's just wonderful. This is going to turn into a gushing about Harrison Ford episode, which is fine, because he's wonderful. Yes. What else should I talk about? Obviously, I guess the cast. Must segue into the cast then. Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker. His breakthrough performance. Yeah, he's really good. I definitely enjoy, as much as I love A New Hope, I definitely enjoy Luke Skywalker in the later films as he becomes a Jedi. His journey goes through Empire and then to Return of the Jedi. I don't know, I just really like him as that badass Jedi master, really, by the time the trilogy's done. Here he's very much the young hero, doesn't really know too much, he's a little naive, but kind of not entirely, just, he's just full of dreamy hope and wants to go off and leave his, leave the property on Tatooine and, go make something of himself, and he's a really good pilot and all that. Like, he's very altruistic and good and wonderful, and everything that makes a good hero a good hero. But I really do enjoy him more later on. That can't be said for Carrie Fisher's excellent portrayal of Princess Leia, because she is consistently amazing throughout the entire thing. I've said this on a podcast called Fred, and maybe even the monthly before, that she really is, Princess Leia is one of the earliest examples of a strong female character in cinema, and in such a big movie, big franchise like this, and the way Carrie just, you know, performs her, portrays her, everything about her is just pure strength and courage and independence, and I just, you know, she's just wonderful. She's entirely wonderful the entire time. You know, she can fight for herself, she can fend for herself, she doesn't need, you know, anyone else to really help her out. I mean, I don't know, I just think she's just excellent, and Carrie is the perfect actress, of course. There really could never have been anybody else to play her, so she's just wonderful. Moving on to the heavy hitters of the cast, Sir Alec Guinness provides some insane gravitas to this film, and I've been reading some of the trivia and behind the scenes info about him and what he thought of the script and the story and stuff. He wasn't entirely a fan of the thing. He didn't really like sci-fi movies apparently, and didn't love George Lucas's dialogue, and a lot of people have said over the years that Lucas's dialogue leaves something to be desired, but that's up to personal opinion. I didn't mind the dialogue that, you know, was the final cut of the film. I really like what the actors do with it, and especially Sir Alec Guinness, the way he delivers. You know, I was sitting there watching the scene where he tells Luke about Anakin for the first time, like, you know, who he really was, because Luke never knew until that point, you know, what really happened to his father and who he really was. And I mean, of course, we know that he didn't tell him the full truth, because we find that out later on, but for the time, this is, you know, this was the story, and the way Sir Alec just performs these lines and says these words, and the look on his face, like, he's just so good. Like, he's so good. He was Oscar nominated, I didn't know that, for Best Supporting Actor for his performance in this film. So that's unsurprising, of course, but I just love the way, through the entire film, he's just the perfect choice. Again, like, the casting in this film is just brilliant, because there's no one else that could play Ben Kenobi / Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's just, I can't really say many more words to just, you know, describe how awesome he is, because, you know, you just watch the movie and you're just in awe. Like, that scene where he's telling Luke is just, it's literally one of the best moments of exposition in any film ever. Like, you know, a lot of people go on about exposition being unnecessary and overdone and blah blah blah, but just, this was just perfect. And, you know, it really made you, I remember as a kid, like, dreaming, before the prequels were even a thing ever, I remember watching that scene and just dreaming of, like, oh gosh, I wish we could see that, I wish we could see the Clone Wars, I wish we could see what, you know, really happened to Anakin, and you know, and the whole Darth Vader thing, and I just remember going, oh my god, wouldn't that be incredible? And, you know, it happened, but we'll get to that later. That's for another video. But just, Sir Alec Guinness is beyond fantastic. Also, beyond fantastic would be Peter Cushing as Grand Moff Tarkin. Another fine, iconic, legendary performer in this cast that adds, you know, gravitas, the other side of the coin, if you will, from Sir Alec Guinness's Ben Kenobi. And yeah, he's just, you know, Peter Cushing's Peter Cushing. There's really not much more you can say. Just like Sir Alec Guinness, he's just excellent, brilliant. I read another piece of trivia about how apparently him and Carrie Fisher got along really well on set, and she found it really hard to, you know, act hateful towards him in their scenes together. And also, he didn't like the boots that he wore with his outfits. So the only time you see him in the boots are he actually wears the boots. Are the scenes where you see him in the boots. Every other time, apparently, he was wearing slippers, which just, I love that image. Peter Cushing wearing this imperial, uniform, and then just, fluffy pink slippers at the bottom. That's a nice image. But he's just awesome. He looks great. He's just absolutely fantastic, and a very good villain. So, what else can I talk about? I know, I like the first thing about this film that you see, you see and hear is the crawl and the music. Obviously, George Lucas took the idea of the crawl from, the original Flash Gordon serials, from, I think, the 30s or 40s, I think it was. He was heavily inspired by those. But just the music, the fact that John Williams' Oscar-winning score is the first thing you hear in this entire saga, that those epic horns coming in, it's just brilliant, beyond. It's so iconic, I don't really know what much more I can add to this movie, in terms of my opinion, because everyone knows how good it is. Everyone knows how iconic it is. It's always in the lists of, iconic things in pop culture and best movie lists of all time, and, it's crazy to me to think that nobody thought it was going to be a hit. And then it happened, and then it was. And the only person, apparently, who seemed to think so was Steven Spielberg, which seemed to be coming up when I was reading the trivia for this quite a bit. So, yay, Steven Spielberg. My goodness. It's just incredible. It won 6 Oscars for all, behind-the-scenes stuff, set design, editing, sound, I believe, as well, a bunch of different things. It even got a special achievement Oscar for creating the alien sounds, because those, Industrial Light and Magic, this was the first film they ever worked on, I'm pretty sure, and they had to create all of these unheard of sounds for all of these aliens, and a lot of them were, people talking in languages sped up, or people talking in English sped up. Apparently one of the aliens, the one that follows Han and Ben and Luke and Chewie through Mos Eisley, is actually the voice of John Wayne sped up. So, that's just hilarious to me. Apparently R2-D2's dialogue was originally supposed to be spoken in full English. Didn't ever know that either, so that's really interesting. But of course, it was replaced with the beeps and the boops, and you can tell when he's sounding happy, you can tell when he's sounding sad or angry or anything. It's it's really, really clever what they've done to show this droid communicating with us and communicating with C-3PO mostly, because 3PO talks to him and you get the other half of the conversation in English from 3PO, and it's very funny. Those two are a very iconic duo, so they're the first 2 main characters we see on screen in the entire thing. We get the shot inside the Rebel cruiser as it's being attacked by the Star Destroyer, and it's C-3PO and R2-D2. Very, very iconic figures of this film and of the entire franchise, obviously. What else can I say? Oh, this is hilarious. Those who don't know, the actor Dennis Lawson, who plays Wedge Antilles, who's definitely one of the most underrated and overlooked characters in this series, in my opinion. I think he's awesome. I've always loved Wedge. He's actually Ewan McGregor's uncle. And I knew that, and I forgot, and I was looking up the trivia, and I found that out again, remind myself, oh, of course, yeah, I read that years ago, but what are the odds of that? That's hilarious to me, and very funny, and just, what a coincidence. Amazing, awesome. Love Dennis Lawson, love Ewan McGregor. We'll be talking about him more later on. Yes, but I don't know. I think, oh wait. Okay, Luke is the first person in the saga in the Star Wars universe to say, I have a bad feeling about this. I thought it was Han, because I couldn't remember, but it's Luke that actually says it. Han says it in the film, but Luke says it first. And it's the line that's probably, apart from May the Force be with you, that's repeated, I think, the most throughout all of the films. So Luke was the one that said it first. Speaking of who did what first, did Han shoot first or did Greedo shoot first? That's a debate that will last, you know, forever and ever. I believe the original film, which I haven't seen in a long time because I only have access to the 1997 remaster, re-release. But the first time I would have seen A New Hope would have been the original one, but I just can't remember because I would have been less than 10 years old. But yeah, in that version, Han, I think, is the only one that shoots. And that's why so many people over the years have just gone, well, Han always shot first. Because when the 97 cut came out, it looks like Greedo shoots first. And then there was another version that was released later on that kind of made them look like they shot at the same time, so, but I don't know. I think it fits more with the dialogue, not entirely with Han's character. I mean, that's besides the point for me. Like, I mean, it doesn't not fit with his character, but I think the main thing is that it flows better in terms of the dialogue and the scene if Han is the only person who shoots. So I'm definitely on Team Han shot first, so that's my opinion. What else? James Earl Jones. I would be very remiss if I did not mention James Earl Jones and his excellent performance. He is intimidating, scary, and malevolent right from the get-go. And he didn't want to be credited on this film because he didn't want to be typecast because he was just kind of starting out, you know, when this film was made. So he didn't really want it to affect his career. But then, of course, obviously it's now, I guess it's the biggest role he ever played. I mean, it's that or Mufasa. Or, you know, King Jaffe Joffa Coming to America. What a film. But, yeah, he's just brilliant. Hats off, of course, to David Prowse for carrying Darth Vader in the original trilogy. What a man, what a legend. An iconic, and also another iconic duo. There you go, there's two. You got two duos for this, yes. Alright, I think I might just start to wrap up now, and obviously the twin sunset is probably the most iconic shot in this entire film, and when I was a kid I didn't understand it. I just kind of was like, oh, he's staring at the suns and there's a nice piece of music playing. And part of me today still kind of feels that way about it, just because, you know, it's very short, but that's, you know, that's, speaking of short, that's selling that scene short, if that's all I really think. But it's a fantastic, just brief little window into, you know, Luke's world, into his mind, into how he's feeling at that time, and, you know, the future's uncertain, because he just longs to get out, because, you know, that happens it's the night before, I guess, yeah, it's the night before that Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru are killed, so everything's still fine and dandy, but he's just longing to be somewhere else, and so he's kind of looking at those suns, and just, for my money, he's just kind of wishing that, you know, for something better. I think he feels that he's meant for something greater than, you know, working for his uncle. So it's just, and then, yeah, John Williams' score is just beyond. Like, there's a reason he's one of the greatest film composers of all time, or probably is the greatest film composer of all time, and definitely my favourite. So, but yeah, it's beautifully shot. This whole film is beautifully shot. The visual effects are great. Even the practical effects are awesome. The digital ones from '97 haven't really aged that well, but that's to be expected. No surprises there. But Anywho, I think that's all I have to really say about this one. I just love how incredible this movie is, how wonderful the characters are, the galaxy we've been introduced to. It's just, you know, and even watching it just before, the trench sequence right at the end, the way the music is going and the way everything's happening, you still feel on edge, you still feel tense, you still feel like, oh god, something's gonna go wrong, like it's stressful. Even though I've seen the movie like 20 times, I know exactly what's gonna happen, of course, but it's just, it's just really well crafted, this film. It's beautiful. Made on a budget of $8 million in 1976, 77, so that's just crazy to me. But anyway, yeah, that's it. It's an awesome film, awesome film, a great way to start this little countdown to episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, and the end of the Skywalker saga. I hope you guys enjoyed watching that as much as I enjoyed talking about it, because these movies are amazing. They're a big part of my life, and I'm very much looking forward to rewatching and counting down with you, so stay tuned for more. I've been Kendall Richardson, and you've just experienced non-scripted ramblings. May the Force be with you.